Hello, dear friends. Welcome to another session of Twinmotion training course. I'm Sajjad Montazeri, and without further ado, let's get started. Another one of the important settings we need to address in the preferences panel, which is Ctrl plus P, is the setting related to quality. I've pressed Ctrl plus P and am now in the quality tab. We can change the quality in several states. The default for your system is likely set to high. This means the quality of shadows, effects, textures, and other parts are displayed at a suitable level in your viewport. As you can see, this panel. It's important to note that this quality setting has nothing to do with your final render quality. It is only related to the way your scene is displayed while you are working in Twinmotion. If it's on auto, it will automatically adjust setting some options to ultra and some to high based on your scene's complexity. And on the other hand, if it is on low, it shows the least amount of detail, which makes your system run lighter, allowing you to work more easily. In the final render, none of these settings will make a difference. Again, this quality is only for the viewport while you work. All right, we also have medium, high, and ultra. I never recommend setting this to ultra later when you are familiar with what each of these means, what shadows are, what effects are, and so on. You can set it to custom. But until you're familiar with these concepts, I recommend you use one of the low, medium, or high presets. All right, so if I press OK on the low setting, you'll see the object quality has dropped significantly. It has essentially proxied our heavy objects, and the trees are now displayed like this. If I press Ctrl plus P again and set the quality to medium, it shows more detail on the trees, but it's still not complete. So for now, I will leave this on high. If I feel the scene I'm working on is becoming too heavy, I can come back and change this to medium or low based on my desire. The next point we need to address is that in Twinmotion 2025, we generally have three methods for rendering. One is the standard formula, one is lumen, and one is path tracer. The standard mode is supported by all systems with all graphic card models. However, the lumen and path tracer modes might face problems on some systems. Especially path tracing. You can only use path tracing if your system's graphic card is an RTX series card. In general, the standard and Lumen systems are called real-time modes. That's the name of them. To access these settings, you can go to the export panel on the bottom, and on the right, click on image. A panel opens, and if you click the plus sign after that, it asks actually which images you want to render. Do you want to render using the real-time system, which is standard Lumen, or the path tracer system? Which one do you want to choose? But where can we set this? In the scene graph on the right, click on the settings ambience menu. Go to the third branch, render. Mhm. Here it suggests standard or Lumen. You can choose standard, which, as I said, can run on all systems. Very good. We can also enable the path tracer, which, as you see, takes a bit more time, but the result it gives us is, in many cases, more realistic. I emphasize in many cases, not all. Hmm? At the top, a small progress bar shows how much of the path trace render is complete. The shortcut for this is R. Be careful, you might accidentally press R and this option will become active, showing your system down for a few moments. If that happens, you'll know you've activated the path tracer. To turn it off, you must click back on real time. As I said, in real time, we have two systems, standard and lumen. I can activate lumen from here, and the render quality changes a bit. Very good. And there is the standard mode. Each of these has its own settings, which we will talk about at the proper time. So don't worry about that. We will talk about them. The next topic is navigation or moving in the Twinmotion scene. If I want to move down, I press E. As you can see, I press E and I move down. To move up, I press Q. And W is forward, like this. S is backward, D is to right, A is to left. These are our six main movements: forward, back, left, right, up, and down here. This movement has a speed if I press W and at the same time roll my mouse scroll wheel forward, the speed gets much higher, as you can see. Mhm. So here, like this. I do that, the speed gets much higher. You can also control this speed with the number keys, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also 6. So you can control this speed by using these numbers. All right, so far so good. And here, speed 1 is a microscopic, very slow speed. I'm pressing W and the forward movement is almost invisible. So it's very, very low, slow. Speed 2 is a bit faster. Speed 3 is faster still. Speed 4 is even faster, as you can see, and 5 is very fast, and 6 is extremely fast. So that's the difference. This is for when you are very far from the project and want to get close immediately. Another way when we are far from the object is to select a part of the object and press F key. I click this uh, gabled roof and press F. It zooms right in. Or I can select one of these objects on the ground and press F. I'll select a tree, press F. It activates a zoom, it extends on the object. So here I can do that. Pick one of these objects, and I can zoom in. For example, this part. Very good. If you want to check these six speeds more precisely, you can click the eye icon on the right. The second option is a speed, as you can see. Very good, this option. Speed 3 is equivalent to walk speed. Speed 4 is cycle speed. Speed 5 is a simulated car speed. So here we have different types of speed and we can see their equivalent. And also at the end, we have speed 6, which is plane speed. So it's very fast. If you are just starting and want a reminder, you can click that same eye icon and at the bottom, click navigation. A bar appears at the top showing the speed 1 to 6 and the movement keys here. So here you have different options and you can control different speeds and have them on your project. Mhm. Isn't it fun? I'm pretty sure it is. We also have three mouse movements. If you press and hold the right mouse button, this is look around. The observer is stationary and just looking. If you press and hold the left mouse button, you orbit around the subject, as you can see. So you can orbit around the subject like this. If you want to pan, move left or right, press and hold the middle mouse button, the scroll wheel, I mean, So you can do that. So the speed we usually use in projects is 3 or 4. I'm setting it to 3 now. I can test it with the right click. I'll set the speed to 4. I can orbit with the left click. So here I can change different speed and here I can orbit with left click like this. So do whatever you want based on these things that I've told you. You might have worked with other software and want to make the navigation in Twinmotion similar. You can click this gear icon preference. Here it says you are in the Twinmotion editor mode. You can just change it to, for example, 3ds Max, or Revit, or SketchUp, or Rhino. Based on your desire, you can change it. And here I recommend you stick to the default Twinmotion editor and get used to its own shortcuts. Don't be lazy. All right. The next part is the navigation input. We usually use the keyboard, but you should know it also supports a gamepad and touch monitors. We will use the keyboard in this course. So here we can use the keyboard, and as you can see, we have gamepad. When you've mastered these options, go back to the eye icon and hide this navigation bar. Like this, I hide it. Throughout this course, we will introduce a series of keyboard shortcuts. Although Twinmotion is not a keyboard-based software, overall it is best to memorize the few shortcuts we do introduce. If you want to find more comprehensive information about all the shortcuts in this software, just go to the Help menu and select Shortcuts, and select the desired language, which is English. In the PDF that opens, it shows you different sections. Twinmotion can run on both Mac and Windows system. The first column is for Mac and the second column is for Windows shortcuts. You can see that W, S, A, and D, which were for navigating the scene and common on both Mac and Windows, while the options for elevation up or down are also almost identical on both operation system. For example, if you want your speed to be a bit faster, you can hold Shift. The symbol you see here is the Shift symbol. Use it along with the movements we had, like W, A, and S, or mouse movement. If you want your speed to be slower, you must hold Alt. The equivalent on the Mac operation system is the Option key. For the rest, it has provided the information for you here. If you see icons here that are unclear, a guide to the keyboard is displayed here for you. For example, one of the shortcuts we use a lot is changing between pedestrian and drone mode, which is done with M, or we use the material picker with the shortcut T a lot during our different projects. So these are different keys that we have gotten familiar with. You're going to use them a lot. So just try and use them a lot. I already explained what those 6 keys are. And I explained the F key, which zooms onto a selected object. If you want to show or hide helpers, use the G shortcut. And also to hide an object, we use the H shortcut. If you want to change the gizmo on an object from local to world mode, we use the Z shortcut here. And also the O shortcut is for orthogonal mode. The 6 keys 1 to 6 were about different speeds. Keys 7, 8, and 9 are for the different modes of move, rotate, and scale, which we will talk about at the proper time, and you can see the other options in this way. Anything you want is here. Anytime you forget, you can come back to this guide and review its content. Very well, I'll close this window for now. We will continue our topics in the upcoming sessions. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.